Get Resource, a relational wisdom school stream. Again, Friday, Mountain Time. You can catch us on YouTube. We also stream to our individual Facebook platforms. And if you're not part of it, join our Facebook group, Relational Wisdom Community for Conscious Co Creating Relationships, where we chat about everything about relating, connection, belonging, acceptance, being you and belonging at the same time. And as we dive in, we always love to check in with each other. And our favorite question is, what's alive in you, Summer?
Today, it's this mild pressure behind my eyeballs.
Mm,
I ate some chips. I love chips. They're so crunchy and delicious, but I pay for it a day later. And so I feel that kind of that pressure behind my eyeballs. That's what's most present in me, and I'm also excited to be rebellious today in our topic.
mm, yeah. Mm.
What's alive in you, Mr.
Well,
Dre?
I just ate right before this, and there's a bit of regret because I can feel this heaviness going down in my
You ate the
stomach.
leftover chips I had, right? Ate the
Oh yeah,
leftovers.
I had that.
I
That
almost
that
had the whole
created a bit of
bag.
a fog in my periphery, right? And so I also had some rice and ginger bison that you made there, and I'm just feeling it digesting. So that definitely takes me away from being like fully clear, and so there's a bit of regret of just eating last minute here. Yeah, but I'm excited. I'm excited and nervous at the same time. Nervous because of the call I have after this, which is super exciting for me, and excited about this topic.
Well, now you have to tell me out of what call do you have after this?
Oh man,
I know which one it is. Are
yeah.
you gonna share or what?
You have a call with one of my teachers and mentors in the men's workspace. So yeah, I'm stoked for that. Hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, rebellion, rebels. One of your teachers is, I would call him a rebel. Can we say his
Mm.
name or do you not want to? Sure.
Yeah, no, his name is Connor
Yeah.
Beaton.
Connor
So
Beaton.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's our
Yeah.
topic is rebellion, right? And
Rebellion.
yeah,
Hmm.
counterculture,
Counterculture.
being one of my mentors, other mentor, Trevor Boehm talks about is being uncivilized, you know?
Mhm.
Another mentor of mine, getting out of the prison of normal, right? What is
Yes.
normal, right?
Good question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh. I know I wore a sweatshirt once that said, I don't even remember what it said. I don't like being normal. Normal scares me, is what the t-shirt said, and Facebook kicked
Oh,
me off
man.
Facebook for wearing it.
Oh my god. It was during a turbulent time though, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. So the prison of normal and rebellion. I know your teacher, Connor Beaton, has no certificates whatsoever, and he's now teaching a lot of therapists and different people why what they do doesn't work.
Yeah. Therapy, therapists, psychologists, et cetera, right? It
They
only
all
takes us
take
so
teacher
far,
training.
right? And with systems that are imposed and structures, there's always a limitation to them. As a human being, I evolve. There's a certain rhythm that comes with being a human being. And a lot of things that are out there tries to put me into a cog of some type of machine. There's a part of me that wants to create structure and order, and it's good to have that. But too much of it turns me into a rigid, mechanical machine and takes me away from the life force that is with me every single moment, you know? And so, how does this tie into rebellion? I say, hmm, when I'm tuned into myself, into life that's flowing within me, then I have this choice, this power that gets gained where I get to choose what serves me or doesn't. And what serves me as I get deeper into this, as we explore this in this conversation, is my humanity. And when I'm in touch with my humanity, I'm in touch with other people's humanity. Yeah.
Reminds me of that saying, "You're only as sick as your secrets." Mhm.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. Putting so much energy to suppress those things, right? That I judge, right? As horrible or repulsive, or don't share that because you're going to be judged. Nobody's going to like you. Uh-oh, let's create conflict. But what happens when I keep storing up that gunk in my system? Just like piling things into the closet, right? And just like those trains in Japan, you're just trying to stuff all that people into that train.
Yeah, felt like that most of my life. Which box does someone
Mhm.
else wanna stuff me in? And I've just been terribly stubborn my entire life.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
I do wanna read Marshall Rosenberg's quote.
Yeah.
This comes from his book, Speak Peace. Andre has it. Love Marshall Rosenberg. He's no longer with us, but I love this. He says that what's very difficult for people about tapping into their humanness, rebelling against the structures, the education systems, the climbing the corporate, all those things that can get us trapped in the prison of normal. He says that the third component of expressing what's alive in us, which is rebellion, is
Mm.
it's very difficult for people to observe without judgment and to just have a literacy of needs. And he says it comes from our history of educating people to fit into domination structures. So they are obedient and submissive to authority. He says in the book, I'll talk more about domination structures later, but for now, just think of them as organized control. Most government, schools, companies, and even many families operate as domination structures. The problem, he says, and keep in mind, Marshall Rosenberg was a PhD in psychology for 21 years who decided to quit because he was tired of judging people. He says the problem with people who are in touch with their needs is they don't make good slaves. I went to school for 21 years and I can't recall ever being asked what my needs were. My education didn't focus on helping me be more alive, more in touch with myself and others. It was oriented towards rewarding me for giving right answers as defined by authorities. So, how do we come up with our own answers? How do we know
Mm.
our path? How do we know that? By getting in touch with what's alive in us. And it's often the same as what's alive in other people.
Yeah.
As we tap into people's nervous systems and they're allowed to share what's going on for them, we see these mirrors in ourselves. It elevates us, it escalates us. It allows us to rebel against the forces that keeps us enslaved, these mental, emotional, and spiritual patterns that I'm going to guess have been around for hundreds, if not thousands of
Mm.
years that I believe we can break out of pretty quick here.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds so simple, right? Just to point the mirror back to myself instead of focusing on what's out there, tuning into what's happening in here, right? As I said in previous streams, like the more I tune in with this part of me, getting to know this part of me, there's a wave of like more compassion and more self-respect and self-worth. And we talk about this topic of rebellion is I want to bring the context of like, hey, if I turn on the news, right? It's as if the world is on fire, like chaos, wars, and it's horrifying. And at points where I'm like, I just tune out. I just want to draw. There's a sense of like powerlessness. What how can I change the situation? I think a lot of us want to change the situation for the better. But how do we do this, right? Become activists, go out there and get involved in the political arena. One thing that we want to bring a little shift to you all that you're watching is that by tuning into yourself, tuning into even your feelings and needs, and we'll explain what that is actually a radical act of rebellion. Because Marshall has another quote called, do you have it? I'll pull it
Uh,
up.
which one are you talking about? He's
Yeah,
got many.
I know he
Any
does.
judgment?
Well,
Diagnosis or label is a tragic expression of what's alive in us. That one?
no, but that's a good one too.
Okay. Uh-huh. Uh,
People who are in touch with their needs do not make good
Good
slaves.
slaves.
Yeah, and that was mind blowing for me. Because then when I tune into what's important to me, right, then I'm willing to, in a way, die for it because it contributes to my well being, right? What's important to me? Freedom, peace, harmony, compassion, respect. It's like I tune into maybe the lack of it because I don't have it here. So it inspires me to then want to act to get those needs met. And so when I have a need for peace and someone gives me a gun to shoot my fellow man, why would I want to do that? When I start seeing the humanity in myself, I start seeing the humanity in other people, not by color, not by age, not by religious sect, but just by being human with each other. And so that's rebellion.
Yeah, because they
Rem-
try to keep us from being human, that's for sure, with each other. No, no.
Exactly. The dehumanization, right?
Mhm.
The divide and conquer, to see each other as enemy images. That's why we pick up the gun, is because I'm not aware of what thought forms are happening within me. And behind that, what's truly going on through my feelings and needs and what makes me human at my core. So the very fact of giving myself this presence, I call like self empathy, right? Creating a space is a liberatory practice.
And they're starting to do it in maximum security prisons even. I love that video. I can't remember what it was called, but I encourage anyone watching to go ahead and watch it. They actually take, people living in houses off the streets, jobs, and they go inside a maximum security prison, and they realize, "Oh, outside the prison walls is just much a prison as inside the prison walls. In fact, I can go inside a maximum security prison and become more free," because they're teaching the men there to start paying attention to their feelings and needs.
Yeah, to start to feel. There's
Start
this
to feel
it's actually called the documentary is called The Work,
the
okay?
work.
Highly recommend it. Check it out, The Work, and it's at the Folsom Prison, I believe, in California. And these men and the people that are in these spaces that are holding the space are also inmates and convicts as well. They've been doing this work for years and years, and they have the opportunity to support their fellow man. And a lot of it is all about allowing that gunk to arise and be released and to be witnessed and connected to without shame and judgment. It's as if like I was a little boy again and I'm throwing a temper tantrum or I'm hurting and I'm being guided through it versus, oh, don't do that. Shut up. Don't talk back. I'll give you something to cry about. Right. By allowing that to be witnessed and move through, frees these men from their internal prison. Right. A
Yeah.
lot of it is just allowing the emotion to run through because in the feeling is the healing.
Mhm.
And what's
Yeah,
so
it sounds
special about the
simple.
feeling? Like, what's this feelings and needs thing? If someone were to tune in right now, they're like, "What's feelings and needs?"
Seems so floofy flaky, doesn't it? Quit your feeling. Um, our heart. Our heart has electromagnetic energy that keeps us pumping. It someone dies, we get our heart transplant, we can have their memories. We have their energetic blueprint in our body. We know what's happened for them in their lives. Feelings are our inner navigation system. They're the energetic way we know what makes us feel alive, what's life giving to us. And Gary Zukov, I believe, says, we've treated them like appendages, as these useless things that we want to get rid of, that we want to carve out, well, it doesn't allow us to go to work. It doesn't allow us to get things done, the human doing thing. So feelings are about being. Um, they also will offer a lot of epiphanic knowing and knowledge that we're not tapped into. because we've been dissuaded with our mind. And I always love the saying that the mind is a terrible master, but a wonderful servant. And so if it's not our mind that we're following, if it's not the logic, then what are we following? What makes us creative? What are the great thinkers like Einstein or Leonardo da Vinci? What did they do? They integrated the feelings, the knowings, the spiritual aspect of who they were with the doing. Our ego, our personality needs guidance from something. And it's not through the education that tells us to fit in a little tiny little box and stay there. That is not fun. And the pressure cooker is getting a little hotter. The inflation, the world things, these things are going on, and it's like, okay, you've got to get that more in line. But do we? Maybe it's getting out of line. Maybe it's the rebellion.
Mm,
Maybe it's I'm going to express myself, not in any aggressive,
mm.
overt way, although sometimes along the way of trying to be free, we do that. But it's starting to be real with people.
Yeah, yeah. And when I face that being real, like I trust you more. You know,
Mm.
even at work, like, you know what? I'm feeling overwhelmed because of what's being asked of me today. And there's some background anxiety that I'm sensing. And I'm working through it, you know? Just like expression and naming that. I'm like, wow, that's refreshing. And it gives me permission to tune into myself. And in fact, I trust this person more. I trust them more, right? Not talking about like, you know, dumping and emotionally, right? Just putting it all on someone or, you know, just being super aggressive. I mean, there are those stages, 100%. But being able to contain that emotion, being able to express it, it's so freeing, right? Yeah. So feeling is I treat it as just information and data. Like it's planted in me that I didn't choose. Yeah.
I judge on what's coming up for me in the corporate realm that might be like, okay, I don't think so. And we both came from corporate backgrounds. I have a friend of mine who's developing some work in the corporate realm and talking about being efficient. Are we? Looks like we're having a breakdown here with the chat and stuff. Are we still
Oh,
live?
don't
It
worry
looks
about it,
like.
babe.
Oh, okay.
We're good. I'm moderating it. So
Okay,
you can
awesome.
just I got it. Just focus, babe. I
Sweet.
got it.
Yeah, there's this whole thing of, okay, well, don't bring your personal life to work. Let's corporate. Let's keep going. Let's be a robot. Let's break that down. But you know what? It's absolutely effing freaking impossible to do that. Who has problems at home and it doesn't show up at work? It's impossible to divide who you are from somewhere else. And not only is it impossible, it makes us sick. So the rebellion is we show up the same way wherever we are with mindfulness, of course, because some people aren't that open to some things. But as each one of us join the rebellion, there's going to be more and more numbers that make life a lot easier for us, that free us all. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what else to say about that.
Well, we were talking about feelings and needs, right? And
Mhm.
so the feelings they point to needs and what are needs? Well, needs are just words. Yeah, go for it.
Words that describe the life serving energy that motivates and sustains us. I know our friend Stas says, I hate the word needs. I prefer desires. Desires. What are the desires that keep us alive, that keep us human, that make us feel purposeful and meaningful and alive and energetic and wanting to contribute to each other's needs? We all have this desire to be of service to each other. That's why we're on the planet. We all want to learn. We want to grow. We want to have meaning. We want to have connection. It's a universal thing. We can't cut the design of who we are out of what we are. And half of what we been taught is to do that. Cut out your design so you can feed a corporate industrialized world. I'm not saying it's bad. There's been a lot of great inventions. It's just gone a little bit too far, and people are
Yeah.
realizing it.
Consciously choose how to contribute, right?
Mm,
That leaves the people and environment better, you know, to contribute in ways that are sustainable. And you know that requires me to check in of what's important. What are my values? How do I want to conduct my life? You know, what's my North Star? And this invitation to tune into oneself when we share feelings and needs are just these labels that help the mind understand what's going on in your inner reality. Because we haven't been taught that. But once you know the vocabulary and tune in just like any muscle and start practicing like going to the gym, you can start mapping it out. And then you start walking at the beat of your own drum, you know? And tying back to needs, I'll read off a quote by Marshall Rosenberg.
mm,
Many people, in fact, have very negative associations with needs. They associate needs with being needy, dependent, selfish. And again, I think that comes from our history of educating people to fit well into domination structures so that they are obedient and submissive to authority. So when I'm not in tuned to what's important to me, then I'm relying on others to tell me what it is.
yeah.
And so the act of just turning the awareness back to myself, going back to the wars, right? What's going on in the world? I feel powerless. But just the act of doing the work and tuning into yourself to give yourself that presence and self empathy is a revolutionary act. It's a fuck you to authority. It is.
It is.
Because the more you steep into what's important to you, the more you're standing into your truth, the more you can discern, have discernment between being manipulated or being coerced into something that's not in alignment to your life serving energy. As human beings, like even in that prison, they had convicts saying, I don't want to hurt anybody no more. I don't want to hurt anybody no more. I'm done. They don't want to hurt people. They'll hurt people. Is because deep down there's an empathic connection of I want you to feel what I'm feeling. I want to belong and stay connected to the human tribe and have you feel the pain that I'm in. And that's why I'm inflicting this pain onto you. And when their pain is being witnessed, when their humanity is being witnessed, they stay being human. There's more compassion, way more compassion. When I'm in touch with my pain, when I'm in touch with other people's pain, there's a sense of compassion and humility that falls over me versus being like a spoiled brat, right? Having everything given to me, not experience life struggles whatsoever, and judging people left and right based on their status, what car they drive, you know, what their hairstyle looks like, what clothes they wear, what neighborhood they live in. This is what's happening. We're becoming dehumanized through being civilized, through towing the line and checking out all those stores that are numbing us. There's plenty of those. This is an attack on your sovereignty, on your energy, your time, your soul. So that's what we're inviting you back into. Just tune back into yourself to get resourced.
Yeah. And you said something there that I think is hard for a lot of people is to witness other people's pain because there's a lot of it. Um, but again, it moves through us at remarkable speeds. And the end result is peace, is compassion, is a deeper understanding of who I am as a human being. And the sooner we are able to connect to, relate to, breathe in, accept, honor, and trust what it means to be a human being, the faster we'll be free. um, on the other side of pain is a lot of other things, joy, compassion. Um, there is a ridiculous amount of drugs out there these days to numb us,
Mm.
for us to toe the line, to stay just functional enough to be at
Yeah,
a
what is
job
it?
or at work.
Right. Being euthanized is what's coming to
Ugh,
mind. Numb, NPCs like zombies, right? This anesthesia.
yeah, anesthesia, yeah, numb, not non-feeling. Don't notice there's pain, and then people can just keep inflicting pain if you don't notice it's there. Again, though, a lot of people point the fingers at different people thinking that their pain comes from the outside. The pain comes from our experience and our reaction of the world. And the
Mm.
only way out is in. And the people in maximum security prisons, the work, that show, um, or a documentary rather, um, explains how that's totally possible.
Yeah.
How we go inside. Who said be the change you want to see in the world? That was
Gandhi,
Gandhi. It was Gandhi.
Mahatma Gandhi. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it means. Our freedom is within. And we
Always
don't
been
have
with
the
it.
skills. Some people meditate, that's nice. But there's a whole other level of that skill. And a lot of it needs to be done in community, just like the work is done in community, in maximum security prisons of all weird places. Um, because when you can see prisoners are just as human as you are and they don't want to hurt people, nobody wants to hurt each
Mhm.
other. So then why are we doing it?
Mhm.
What the F? And some of these prisons are let go after several times of helping others express their emotions and realizing that as people express themselves of what's alive in them, even when it looks a bit terrifying or intense, it moves through them. And if we can just witness it without ourselves having a reaction or a panic, it moves. That energy is now free, not to be inflicted upon someone else because it's been witnessed.
Mhm.
And this is something we don't understand for all the men that have been in wars and the women and all the trauma that comes from them. And like you said, if we're human and we see another human, what do we do with the guns that we're carrying? We put them down. We don't want to harm people. That is not our nature.
Not in nature.
That is not our nature. So why do we keep doing it? It's because we deny who we are
Mm.
underneath all of the protective mechanisms that we have.
Mhm.
And so that's
Yeah.
why I'm so grateful for people like Richard Schwartz and IFS, all these things that are starting to come so that we can start to tap into those different fractured parts of ourselves and put
S
ourselves back together.
Yes. No bad parts, right?
Hmm.
Gabor Mate calls it compassionate inquiry. How do I view myself with that state of compassion? Really it is not killing parts of myself. It's not this machismo, like, "Let's get it," you know? No time for no time for crying. No time for being a bitch.
Pussy.
Kill that kill that pussy part of yourself away. And it comes with a consequence, because that means that there's a part of me that I don't appreciate or want in my system, right? And that doesn't go away. I can't kill a part of myself away. It's there.
Well, I like how you said there's no bad parts. There's also no bad people. And some people will be like, I don't know about that. But I truly believe there are not. There's no such thing as bad people, bad parts of ourselves, as within, so without. There's all these mirrors and reflections. People do some horrid things. It's true. They
Mm.
do, but it doesn't mean they're bad people. Their behavior does not make them who they are. I've done some interesting things when my nervous system is dysregulated. When we are chronically dysregulated in our nervous system, when we go against who we really are because of, well, different things, wanting to fit in. And there's a lot of initiations out there that are not, well, they're kept secret, aren't they? And it's all starting to come out.
Yeah.
As we are allowed to tap into the shame of doing things that we know aren't life-giving, we returned to the species that we are, we're a life-giving species,
Yeah.
and we have so much more potential, and all we have to do is tap into ourselves. That's it.
Yeah. And so I wanna move this to more of a practical thing and grounding it here. And I
Sure.
wanna say, "Hey, Angeline, welcome." Um, and we welcome more comments. Anybody's watching. So this idea of like, okay, turning into myself. Naomi mentioned in our class the U-turn, right?
Right?
The mirror
Yep.
back. Where does someone go to start doing that? Like, what does that look like to start tapping into one's innate wisdom or feelings and needs? What's happening, right? Because I can definitely name my own personal experience of feeling something, right, that's uncomfortable and then distracting myself with video games, YouTube, maybe drinking in the past, porn, whatever, right? Partying. I didn't want to feel that feeling. I want to feel good, right? This icky feeling? No, no, no. I want more of this, right? So where does someone start when there's that resistance? Right? The resistance just is being with oneself. Like I can't be with myself. I need to be doing something. I need to be with someone.
Yeah, I need to be with someone. I need to eat some chips. I need to drink some alcohol. I need to go to work. Could be any of those things, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like it sounds so
Well,
simple, though my
yeah.
guess is it's challenging
Well,
from the
here's the
from the
truth of
onset.
it though. The truth is it's easier to be with yourself when you're with somebody else who's able to be with themselves.
Mm,
I have a friend, they call it body doubling. Um, we're not meant to do it alone. We're so hyper freaking independent, it's ridiculous. Our nervous systems are attuned to each other like the mycelium of the Fabulous Fungi movie. Um, we're wired together and we're either regulating or dysregulating each other. Our culture right now is a chronic dysregulators. But there are people right now that are their switches are being turned on. Their codes, their spiritual evolution. We are learning at astronomical rates. And tuning into ourselves, well, there's some skill involved because we don't realize how much we're in our head and judging all the time, like Marshall Rosenberg says. We don't realize what a slave to the system that we are. We're always afraid of being judged and judging ourselves and all these belief systems that we have. But like the book, The Spontaneous Healing of Belief by Greg Braden, there's spontaneous healing that happens when we tap into the energetic, what I call the energetic resonant truth in our body.
mm,
There's an energetic language that we're born with as spongy, energetic little beings. We don't come in the world going, hey, I don't like your man bun there, Dre. We don't even know what that is. There's no such thing. We're just exploring the energy, the color, the shapes, the sound of our parents' voices, perhaps this rhythm of the steps as our parents walk up to our crib, whatever it is. We don't have language. And we know what that is. We only use 5% of our brain. So how do we tap into that? There's I forget the lady who does the power of 8, but there is a well grooved knowing that who you surround yourself with becomes your level of consciousness.
mm. It's cool.
You don't have to talk to start absorbing levels of consciousness. And this is where, I don't watch a TV. I do have social media because I'm on social media, but I scroll to those places that resonate within me, to the place that feels life-serving. And this is where we start to make choices. There needs to be a little bit of courage in there
Yeah. Well, what you're
to
saying
face
is such
pain.
a quantum leap as well. Like,
Which
just
part?
being well, just if I have no clue, just being around people that do,
Mm.
and I see it being modeled. It's as if like I'm downloading codes, uploading codes. Codes are being transferred. And Angeline says we're the opposite. We feel so all over. We long to be with ourselves. So for some people, they numb, push it down, and for some people, they maybe the judgment is to feel too much. Too much is going on.
Mhm.
Yeah, the sensitivity, and to be able to like distill that, tune that in, right? And for me, like what supported me, because I lived in my head, being a software developer and being told that mathematics and science is so important. Um, hey, It is. Not against it, right? It's just like the extreme, right? Of like, this is important, this is not. You know, it's like no bad parts. Not this part is good and this one's bad. The what really helped me was like having this vocabulary of feelings and needs and using certain prompts that help me get out of my head. Not like, so what are you feeling? And I'm like, right. You know, it's like, what are you noticing in your body? Oh, just naming the sensations, starting there, building that muscle, right? Is it tense? Is it bubbly? Is it not? Right. And then those labels, those feelings, those vocabulary, I can attribute to and map it so that my mind makes that connection to my somatic experience. Yeah. And I start building the highway. It's like, the construction crew coming out, putting out the tar, rolling it over, and just building new roads, right? And repatterning myself. And then tuning into, okay, where is this feeling coming from? Where is it located? Right. I love like, a particular model that you provide me is Nestor of like, how is the sensation similar to what I felt in the past? It could bring back a memory, some type for me to kind of resolve or complete. And I can tie that feeling into a need, right? What need of mine is important. And the more I do that, the more I find like quicker feelings and needs that pop out that are more resonant with what's happening for me. It's just like a simple muscle. Yeah.
What's important about developing that muscle? Like, what's important about your somatic experience?
Wow, why is that important?
Yeah.
Wow. It's like I'm not walking around like a floating head, right? Um, but just logically, rationally, like if I just live up here, I'm removing everything down here, right? And you know what's also important is my heart, my stomach, my lungs, my digestion system. You know what I'm saying? Like without it, I'd be dead. So why am I cutting out the rest of my body? Just look visually, it's like probably 80% of my body that I'm not tuning into. I mean, if I were to judge that, that's pretty stupid. I'm like, why was I taught that? Right? So
That's
just
a really
it
good
makes
question.
so much common sense to start tuning into the whole body instead of just 25% of it. Yeah, let's just go with that. It's just a matter of common sense.
You know, actually, was really funny. This is really very logical.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think as we start tuning in, at least for me, and I know some of the students we have, it's like when people are talking from their head, it's draining. It's really draining. You know, when people are reading pre-scripted things these days. I mean, we used to always plan everything, right? You got Toastmasters and all these things, and people can have really good scripted talks and things like that. But people are now getting kind of bored with it. There's no feeling. There's no connection that comes through that pre-scripted stuff. And so, yeah, what does the body do? Going into the somatics, it tells us what's alive in us right now, what's actually going through our body. If I'm tired, I need to rest. If I'm stressed, I need to like look at that shit. Otherwise, what do people do? They get into trouble, relationship issues, heart attacks. When we're not in the present moment of what's going through us somatically, we get in trouble. There's so many things. Why are so many people in life and relationship and health crises? It's because they don't pay attention below the neck.
Yeah, I like to use the analogy of a car, It's
Oh,
like
the battery.
driving your car and the check engine light's on, and hey, I know a lot of you are driving with that check engine light on and be like, "Who gives a shit?" Right? More lights start popping, right? Maybe the back tire falls off and people still freaking drive, creating little sparks in the back. Muffler drops out, perhaps. There goes the window, the door, and they're still driving. So literally, you're driving your body into the ground when you're not tuning into what's happening there, right?
That's
And
a brilliant analogy. Like
yeah,
freaking brilliant.
right, after a while, you're like the Flintstones, right? Now you're driving and you're moving with your feet, and it's all bruised up and blistered.
Uh,
So
uh, Let me ask you this, because I believe that's what a lot of people are doing. They're working 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 jobs. Their windshields are flying off, their engine barely starts, but they're still trying to go. How is
They
it
ran out
we've
of
been
washer fluid and can't see out of the front rear,
Yeah.
front window. Just
So there's so many how we've been convinced to keep doing that. Like, what
yeah, we're being convinced to be machines. Like,
well, a car's a machine, but it's not running very well when you don't maintain it.
yeah, maybe population control. So, yeah,
Mhm.
40 minutes to the ground, get you hooked on the drip, right? Just like cattle being herded. That's why a pre-drip is important. Yeah, Patrice, welcome. Tell us more about that. I don't want to assume, but I'm curious and I'm seeking clarity on the pre-trip. I
I
think
was
you probably
thinking
mean the trip before
pre
the trip.
or the pre-drip. I don't pre-drip, pre-trip.
Yeah, but it's not our fault, right? It's the culture, right? Maybe, I don't know, I haven't dived deep into it. The natural result of capitalism, the industrial age, right? When the people start moving from the farms into the factories and start becoming cogs in the wheel, right? Is ever like need for GDP growth and production. Um, it's interesting. It's time to reclaim our humanity. It's time, right? There's so much things that are being siphoned out of me, like my time, my life force, my attention, as if I'm the commodity, right? Like I was reading at social media. You know, you think you're like the customer, right? In social media. No, you're not the customer. You're the fucking product. That's why it's free. You ever notice why social media is free? It's because you're selling advertisement. You're selling your data to the companies, and the companies are the customers of social media, and you're the product. So what does that mean? It means that there's everything that is out there wanting to take your time and attention. It's an attack on your freedom, on your sovereignty.
Where's your favorite place to put your time, Mr. Dre?
My favorite place is learning. There's a whole bunch. I love to learn. I love to get to know myself. I love to support and leave an impact on others to get to know themselves. I love to hit the gym. I love to go on walks. I love water, be in water. I love hot cold therapy. I love movement, dancing. Nowadays, I have a deep appreciation for taking care of my body, like nourishing it, you know, yeah, running sleep protocols and water protocols, drinking 80 ounces. I'm drinking a gallon of water every day. So that makes me feel good. Yeah.
You got your gallon there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There it
I gotta
is.
drink some.
It's your pre-trip for the day, as Patrice is saying. Ah, driving a calm truck. You have to do pre-trip before you hit the road. Kind of let checking in and knock on your tires, make sure they're inflated. Yeah, right. How do we make sure we're inflated before we start the day? Oh man, how do we check in? Sometimes we need someone else. You're checking in on your truck. Someone else is checking in on you.
Mm. Thanks for that clarity, Patrice. I appreciate that. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Those rituals and practices, right? To tune in, to check in. And how about for you?
What's most alive in me? What do I love most? Where do I like to spend my time?
Yeah. What helps you tune back in?
Uh, I mean, the immediate response is listening to all the women in my programs, all the people in our programs. Um, there's no one I rather want to be with. It's
Mm.
my family. Every time I hear them speak, what's alive in them, it just, like,
Mm,
lights me up, switches me on. I'm constantly, learning and growing and seeing how amazingly beautiful human beings are, like, constantly. It's like, "Wow, the design here is phenomenal." It's just what it looks is nothing like what's actually behind the surface of who we are as a species. And
mm,
the more I live my life, the more I tune into myself, the more results that I see outside of myself because I tune into myself. I'm just like in complete awe of the magic and the eminent design that we don't see, that we haven't been taught. Um, but the more I tune in, the more that I trust more of my what you might call an intuitive sense, but it's a knowing. It's the somatic sense in my body, and I let my head follow that versus the other way around.
mm.
Holy shit.
Yeah, very cool. And I'm working on that, right? I'm working on that two-way communication. Before it's just one way, like this one controlling this, and I'm treating both with reverence. At times, there's days where I just gotta bite the bullet and just push through. You know,
Mm, mhm.
just gotta will it out. Gotta will it out. Thank you for my willpower. And there's days where man, I gotta tune out. I gotta rest. I gotta relax. I gotta tune into nourishing this body. And so it's just appreciating, knowing, just having discernment. Tuning in. And the more I tune into this body, the more I clean it. Right. The more I hydrate myself. Right. The fact if I'm thirsty, I'm way past the dehydration side of things, right? I'm not even supposed to feel thirsty. If I'm thirsty, it means I'm severely dehydrated. Nourishing my body with good food, right? Sleeping on time, waking up the same time, right? Being consistent with rituals that take care of my health. And then I start tuning into the sensitivities of my body. Like, man, immediately eating those chips, right? Just a little bit, I start feeling a fog. I'm like, okay, right away, that's not good for me. It's like I'm at an age where I'm like, I don't want to drink because I don't want to feel hungover the next day. That impact, right? This this reverence for well-being, like it feels so good in my body because I have reverence for this avatar, this meat suit that I'm gifted with. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're saying that, I'm starting to, think some of the people that are in maybe more difficult financial or whatever circumstances, and how it can drive us to being more in community, which I can think is a good thing.
Mm, mm,
If we can be aware of what's going on and speak it out loud so we can communicate it in different ways, because the way we communicate about what's going on and what's in us, sometimes we're not aware, and it can lead to a lot of violence and disaster. But again, for some of
right.
you that haven't watched it, we mentioned it a little earlier, really highly encourage you to go watch a documentary called The Work, where maximum security prisoners actually become therapists for those outside the walls in regular lives in their daily prisons of normal.
Mm,
Um, Fascinating, really lends itself to what we're talking to today about tapping into who we are as a human species after the industrial age, after the information age, and where I think we're going, which is the spiritual age of, um, and I'm not going to call it enlightenment. I don't like that word.
mm,
It's getting back to who we actually are as a species versus how we're currently living, which is very violent. And there is so much untapped
mm.
potential as we start to choose to be in each other's presence in this way. It
Yeah.
ignites an evolution of exponential growth and the switching on of
Mm.
different elements of our being.
Yeah. And skillfully learning how to communicate that, right?
With
Just
the
as,
verbal language.
inflation, rising cost of goods, more volatility, the more, yeah, it's going to invite people to need to live in groups, right? Work in community. Going back to the old days, right? We can't afford to be living separately anymore, you know? So that calls for skillfully knowing how to communicate, not communicating the old ways of like, you know, the saboteur speak of like being passive aggressive or not being clear and direct. And I still catch myself doing that because it's like my didn't learn how to communicate consciously, but those skills can be learned. And the biggest piece that really opens up the space for connection is when I own my inner experience. I can just start there, right? I don't need to communicate in a way to get someone to do something, right? To influence them, to enroll them into something. Let's not go there because now I'm on this track of like trying to manipulate to get my way, right? And I'm learning these tactics, right? To do that. But really, when I start just naming my inner experience, what starts to happen is it opens up someone else to tune into us. We're not even projecting it outwards. There's no need for defensiveness when I'm owning my inner experience. I'm taking you off the hook, right? I'm feeling overwhelmed. It's a bit of anxiety in me right now, right? And yeah, definitely did need some space. And people are like, "Oh, thank you for that clarity," and they're able to meet us, right? When we get more skillfully in how to, you know, ask, make a request that's on demand, and these are the skills that can be learned. And it just requires practice because I haven't spoken this way and I need to continue to practice it. Just like you're on Duolingo and learning Spanish, right? You got to continue to practice that language, steep in it, unlearn, relearn, unlearn, relearn. Yeah.
So it's a profound act of rebellion to find people and communities that are able start to tap into and talk to their own inner experiences out loud. That's really the simplicity of it. Yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, starting
Man.
there is one of the most profound acts of rebellion that there
Yeah.
is.
Totally. It could be so simple. Like last class, as we are going through, the concept of being a magnetic safe haven, I just boiled it down to like empathy in two forms, right? Empathy for others, being with others' feelings and needs, you know, being with their pain, being in touch with their humanity. And let's say there's something that causes me to close down or judge. That's an invitation for me to give myself empathy. What's happening here as a mirror to my inner experience that I get to work on, right? So it's like a balance of going back and forth between offering others empathy, offering myself empathy. Yeah. And again, that depends on the context, right? I was extremely triggered. Then there are ways take myself out of the situation or finding support from others to help co-regulate. But it really boils down to can I offer myself empathy and tune into my feelings and needs without judgment and then name it. And then when I have capacity, I can offer others empathy in the same way. And now we're getting tuned in into each other's humanity.
Yeah, the dial in, tune in. Got to start changing the dial of where we're putting our attention and what
Mm.
programming we're accepting and tuning into. So yeah, what do we got upcoming for programming for people to want to tune into? We've got the ultimate
Yeah,
relationship event that's
that's
coming
right.
up.
We have a big 2-day free virtual ultimate relationship event for conscious entrepreneurial couples or couples that are co-creating in work, in life with their families and their immediate community, where you'll learn the skills to work through and deepen your intimacy and trust of each other by having the skills to transform those conflicts that arise when they do. Because I know when those conflicts are unresolved, they end up being gunk and they do impact the relationship going forward. And we say the hardest work and the most fruitful work is in your relationship because when your relationship work, everything works. I talk to a lot of high performers at work. Business conversations, negotiations, no problem. But when it comes to their beloved, when it comes to their parents or their siblings, it's hard as fuck. Why is that? Because it runs deep. And when you go deep and work on those skills, man, right? It works everywhere else. It's all
It does
transferable.
work everywhere else. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So we have that. That's happening on Monday, April 20th, Tuesday, April 21st. There is a call. that we need to set up with you. If you're interested, just reach out to myself or Summer, and we'll set up a 15-minute call, to see if it's a fit both ways, right? Another event that's coming up is I'm hosting a men's gathering, not this Saturday, not tomorrow, but the following, in person, in the Edmonton area, where men are coming together, doing some inner work, right? Tuning into our inner landscape, getting to know thyself in front of other men. If that interests you, just reach out and text me or DM.
Right. And also, April 11th, there's a listening for what's next, a day of courage and clarity for women. DM
Mm,
me if you want to attend that.
amazing. Sweet. So, rebel. Tuning into yourself is an act of rebellion.
It
Join
is.
the resistance. Okay. You join the rebellion because there's no
The
resistance there, right?
rebellion. I don't want to resist.
All right. Till next time.
Till next time, next Friday, we'll see you
See you next
again.
Friday. Ciao.